Let's continue with that story and get more reaction now from another element of this. Gauteng Community Safety's Nontsikelelo Sisulu joining us this morning. Nontsikelelo, good morning to you. Appreciate your time. What is your understanding of the powers that these wardens have? Are they able to do what the police do, or what's your understanding of what they can and cannot do within the law?
Thank you very much and good morning. The peace wardens is what they would be classified as legally, and that would be under Section 334 of the Criminal Procedures Act. It allows them to effect arrests, as you've been asking, and it does allow them to do searches and seizures, and that is of human beings rather than stopping cars and searching and seizing in cars. They will be working with a fully qualified law enforcement agent, whether it's a South African Police Service member or whether it's a Gauteng Traffic Police Service member. So they will not indeed be working on their own. As you would know, one would always have to have on-the-job training. They will continuously have training. They will always be assisted. Those will be specializing in, for example, land invasion, and those will be specializing in the protection of infrastructure. Will also have different training as well, over and above the basic training that all of them have to have as peace officers. So that's really the powers, amongst others, that they do have, but working obviously with law enforcement agencies that are fully qualified.
3 months intensive training, some suggesting it's not quite enough to do this. You agree or disagree?
3 months of intensive training is a start. That's why we're saying there's ongoing training. But I'm not sure that we can then keep them for 3 years while crime is at the level at where it is. We do and have always had patrollers in our communities, and we do applaud the other members of our communities who have taken it upon themselves to actually protect their own communities, whether it's through neighborhood watches. But as government, as the Gauteng provincial government under Nontsikelelo, we thought it would be important, as he would have put it, that we start making a difference and impact and assisting SAPS and other law enforcement agencies to multiply the forces that are on the ground, because we're definitely outnumbered in terms of law enforcement agencies, and therefore we do need to have more people on the ground to assist. We really need people closer to the ground so that they know what is happening at a ward level, and that's where the difference really comes in. It is ward-based crime prevention, but we have to be working with community members. Crime happens at a community level. Community members know what is happening, and we really would want them to actually work with the Crime Prevention Wardens so that we have early warnings and we don't have to actually get to the point where we are actually only reacting to crime but preventing crime.
Yeah, and I think many people would agree that's the way to go. Stop reacting and anticipate and prevent as well. Nontsikelelo, help me understand. So when it now comes from the Gauteng Community Safety perspective, who has the say for those communities you were just talking about? Because there are hotspot areas around the province, and there are in other provinces, I understand, of course, but there are hotspot crime areas in Gauteng. Who decides where to deploy these peace wardens? Is that coming from the SAPS, or who's actually making those decisions as to where they go?
All right, so we have 361 township and informal settlements and hostel wards, and so the primary focus was that they would be deployed in those areas because the police stations or the policing precincts that have the highest levels of crime are actually in those areas. So we have in the country about 40, and that's where in the province, and Gauteng at least about 40. So the decision when we have, for example, Operation Ukaimulao is a joint law enforcement operation. SAPS obviously has the overall command, but you do have Gauteng Traffic Police as part of that. You do have Johannesburg Metro as part of that, depending on where the operation is happening. If it's at Iguruleni, then Iguruleni Metro will be part of that as well. So it is a joint operation depending on where the hotspots are, as you have indicated, and depending on what the focus is on that particular day. If it's a drug issue that we're focusing on, and the police will determine together with other law enforcement. So there is a briefing prior to the deployment of those kinds of special operations. So it is based on the data that is on the ground and what we know is happening in the communities.
And I'm sure you'll be very aware of the complaints, Nontsikelelo, as well, about not being able to get through to the police. It's been an ongoing issue. It has been for a number of years. The call centre number, everyone knows it, 10-111, of course. It's the peace wardens are members of the public able to contact them separately if they can't get hold of the police, or does it have to be done via the police? Say there's a crime or a shootout or something that the police should be involved in, the police aren't responding. Can you go directly to the peace wardens, or what's the members of the public's interactions with these peace wardens? How do you get hold of them?
Thank you. I think that's a very important and a good question, because what we want when we say ward-based, it's a particular jurisdiction. It's like when you go to your voting station, it's just that area. It confines you to say these are your boundaries. So we want them to be in that area, so close to the community that they can be reached. Remember, they're going to be working 24/7, so they'll be available throughout the day, and so they need to be, that contact would be that close to the people. So they should literally be not even a stone's throw away from them. And because they'll be patrolling throughout the day and the night, they should be accessible to the peace officers at that point. So that the peace officers and the crime prevention wardens, so it should be immediately accessible to the community.
And when it comes to community involvement with the police officers, the peace officers and police officers, I guess, just a last question to you. What's the community engagement going to be like with them? Will they be able to approach them for help, apart from the 10-111 line as well? If someone needs assistance, like you would go to a police officer if you're in trouble or need assistance, can members of the public approach these peace wardens?
Yes, of course they can. They certainly can approach them. They can certainly, because they have the responsibility. Remember, they are working with law enforcement agencies wherever they are, so they will have access to, the public does have direct access to the peace wardens because they are in their communities. They can also, obviously, in terms of community police relations, we as the Department of Community Safety are already working with SAPS. Even though we do have an oversight role with them, we are also working on issues of community police relations so that we are able to strengthen relations between the communities. These peace wardens, these peace officers and crime prevention wardens are going to assist us in making sure that the relations that are, the trust deficit that we have between the police and the community is somewhat strengthened and lessened, and that we can build the trust more. And we're really hoping that that will happen.
Yeah, you phrased it much better than I certainly was trying. I was trying to find the words trust deficit, but you helped me out, and I appreciate it. It was exactly what I was asking, that trust deficit. Nontsikelelo, thank you very much indeed for your time. So it all looks like it's in the aid of Gauteng residents, this community safety, very much a big focus. And my thanks to Nontsikelelo Sisulu from Gauteng Community Safety as well. So working alongside the police is what we're told.